you're just joining us, we're just waiting another minute or so that we can allow more folks to join us. So be patient. Thank you. We'll start very shortly. All right, Ryan, are we good? I have 2:03 by my watch. All right, we're going to get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you for accommodating the schedule change for this webinar. We really appreciate it. I'm Charity Quick. I'm BMES's Executive Director and CEO. And joining me today is Jen Noveski. She's our Managing Director. And Ryan Green, who's our Director of Education and Corporate Programming. And we're going to please pose your questions through the platform. First, I would like to acknowledge that the process this year for our speakers, exhibitors, and attendees has been very challenging. We originally planned for the entire annual meeting to be in person this year. And in hindsight, that decision was the wrong one. So we understand for many of our members, we were putting them in an impossible situation, choosing between our annual meeting and their own and their family's personal health and safety. Therefore, very late in the game, the BMES Board of Directors approved the pivot to a fully hybrid annual meeting. This created a lot of complications. I don't think I have to tell you that. It impacted every part of our meeting. We did our best to communicate with you. We tried very hard to accommodate as many people as we could, but unfortunately, we had to put hard deadlines in place. As the Executive Director of BMES, I apologize if we were not able to accommodate you and for any issues this caused you. My promise to you is that we will make the decision on the annual meeting much earlier next year so we can put the processes in place so we don't repeat what happened in 2021. Our plan at this point is to have a fully hybrid meeting. Additionally, I want to point out that unfortunately on this webinar, we can't discuss individual situations. If you're continuing to have an issue, to please email membership@bmes.org. And also if you have additional questions. Beyond the challenges of this year's annual meeting, we have combined attendance of 3,200, and that's for our in-person and virtual attendees. If you're coming in person, you're going to experience an upgraded registration process, an offsite bash at Universal Studios Orlando, and of course, all the great scientific sessions that you expect from BMES. And we did our best to make this meeting as safe as possible for you. If you're attending virtually, you will experience our upgraded virtual platform. This will give you the opportunity to view sessions and posters and to network. And our in-person attendees also have access to that same virtual platform. So you can seamlessly interact in person and virtually. So with that brief intro, we want to start taking your questions. So please use the Q&A or the chat feature to pose your questions.
We have a couple already, so I'm going to get us started. Thanks for all your hard work in getting this conference together. This is from Catherine. One thing I didn't see on the website is whether there's poster printing on site. Ryan, can you talk a little bit about that?
I can. There is poster printing on site. All of our poster presenters should have received training material, and that training material at the bottom of the document had a link to print your poster on site. You can also reach out to me and I can resend you that document and give you that link if you don't have it or can't find it. And then that way you can pay to print your poster on site and just pick it up instead of bringing it with you.
Great, but if you want and would rather travel with your poster, you're more than welcome to do that as well. The next question, is it too late to register or join the celebration of minorities in BME Luncheon? Unfortunately, yes. Their registration did close yesterday because we do have to get our final numbers to the hotel. However, if there's opportunity for you to join on site, if you visit the registration desk, we'll let you know if there's room right before the event and you can pay for a ticket on site there. The next question is, how will virtual attendees see who is a part of the Meet the Faculty Candidate program? Ryan, can you talk a little bit about the in-person and then what we plan to do for the virtual component?
Of course. So the Meet the Faculty program is only available in person. However, we will be displaying a list of all of our candidates through their resumes in a PDF lookbook that any recruiters or anyone interested in can look through. You're also able to reach them through our networking feature on the virtual platform. But there is no virtual component to the Meet the Faculty at the annual meeting. What we are doing to make up for this unfortunate circumstance is that after the annual meeting, we'll be planning a fully virtual Meet the Faculty type program. And we'll open that back up to new candidates as well as recruiters. And that way we both meet the expectations of the Meet the Faculty program at the annual meeting and allow for anyone who wasn't able to travel to also participate.
Great, and we've gotten a couple of questions about the virtual posters. People a little confused about that process. And so if we can explain a little bit about virtual versus in-person sessions, that would be helpful, I think.
Sure, so virtual presentations are all pre-recorded or pre-uploaded. The posters themselves, we asked all our virtual presenters to upload the poster and a 2-minute video. Those posters will be featured on the virtual platform, and then anyone who views your poster will be encouraged to reach out to you through the in-platform networking feature to ask those Q&A so that you can have a one-on-one conversation with them without being forced to be live at any specific period of time. And the same goes for the oral presentations as well. Those are pre-recorded. They're pushed out at specific times, but Q&A is done through the networking feature in the application so that nobody has to be present at a specific time. You can watch them at your leisure. You can talk to the presenters at your leisure. You can ask as many questions or follow-ups as you want at your leisure.
Great, thanks, Ryan. A couple of questions that we've got in that I'm going to condense and hopefully we can address all of you at the same time. COVID protocols. Charity, would you talk a little bit about what is required for on-site temperature checks, etc.?
Sure, Jen. So we're very serious about safety on site at our meeting, and we worked very closely with the hotel to ensure that our members and our attendees are as safe as possible. One of those is because we're the only large group in-house at the time. When you enter our space, you will have to go through the process of answering some COVID questions, as well as having your temperature checked. If you have a temperature, we will have you leave the space, unfortunately. So please, if you're attending the meeting, make sure that you're healthy. That's really important, and we do encourage you to be vaccinated. Also, you have to wear a mask throughout our entire event. You also need to be 6 foot socially distanced between other participants. Now that carries into not only the exhibit hall, but also into our plenary sessions, our big session rooms, and our breakout sessions. Additionally, all food is takeaway, so it will be pre-boxed so that you can take it away and eat in conditions on your own. You could go outside, you could go up to your room, you could take it to a location where you're away from other people. So everything that we've done in mind, and the hotel is also on board with what we're doing, so they understand to maintain that. We also have what we call our safety ambassadors who will be walking the halls. Encourage, if they see someone without a mask, they're going to ask them to put it on. Encourage the social distancing between our attendees, and all in a friendly manner, of course. But it's all about keeping the meeting safe, as safe as possible.
Great. Another question we've gotten, when will the final full program agenda be available?
Sorry. So our IT team is working on publishing that currently. We will definitely have it available at least 2 days before the conference starts, if not by Monday, which would be the 2nd. So just keep an eye out for that. We'll send an email out to all registered that the program is now viewable.
And I'm getting a couple of questions in from exhibitors if there are any restrictions for bringing swag and how many people are of the 3,200 are attending in person. And so there are no restrictions. Just be mindful that people are not going to want to accept certain things, and we are encouraging no touch or as limited touch as possible. So individually wrapped swag, items that can be placed on a table that don't have to be given out, that somebody can then sanitize their hands before and after, would be preferable. And as far as in-person attendance, it's just over 1,800 in person, and the rest are virtual. The next question is about the virtual platform that I can also answer. Which virtual platform are we using? We're using Hublo, and we have upgraded to the 2.0 version, which is their latest update. So the site will be slicker, hopefully a little more user-friendly than you've used in the past at other meetings, and certainly a little more upgraded than you've experienced in the past with BMES at our virtual meeting last year. So Hublo is the platform we're using. You will get credentials. I will reiterate what Charity said at the start of this. All our in-person attendees will have access to the virtual platform because we want you to use that as your app. So you'll be able to build your agenda in there, see the full agenda. For those who are attending virtually as well, that will be the place that you use for your networking, to reach out, to go to the virtual exhibit hall. So everyone will be getting, who has registered for the full meeting, will be getting the same set of credentials. If you registered for the virtual light option, you have a few less bells and whistles on your registration. You get up to about 4 hours a day of live streaming. And that will be the sessions as well as the plenary sessions for you. So that you will get your email for your credentials on October 4th. Expect that to hit your inbox. There will be multiple ways you can reach membership at bmes.org. If you don't get them on the 4th, reach out and we'll make sure they're resent. Because I was doing some talking, can you talk about what meals are going to be offered during this, what comes with a ticket, talk about a little bit about the bash as well. Charity, do you want to take that?
It depends. We have ticketed functions, and so there's luncheons included in those ticketed functions. There's still lunches, but they're just in it, like I mentioned earlier, they're in a takeaway box just to maintain safety. Our LGBTQIA is a ticketed item as well, and that one is a dessert reception. So that would be dessert taken away. For example, I'm giving you examples of different things. The welcome reception is open to everyone that is coming to the event, and that will be kind of light appetizer type food, and that will also be in a takeaway box. Our bash is offsite at Universal Studios. So part of Universal Studios is exclusive to private groups, and that's where we will be in the private group. And with that also is a $10 voucher that you can take with you and use in the park for food and drink. And we will be taking buses there. The buses will also be socially distanced. So there'll be smaller capacity on the buses, and the buses will take everyone there and bring them back. So there'll be opportunities to eat at Universal, opportunity to walk around, see attractions, ride rides. And again, it's private just to private groups within Universal. It's a subset of the park, not the entire park. And don't quote me exactly. I know included in there is Jurassic Park. Jurassic World, but I don't know what else is included on there. So.
And Marvel.
I'm sorry, Marvel and Jurassic World. So if those are two of your favorites, and I can tell you that if you're a person that likes roller coasters, the Velocita coaster is brand new and it's supposed to be awesome. I'm not a fan, but other people are. So if you enjoy that, you'll have a good time.
Thanks, Charity. Will virtual attendees be able to watch sessions live? So Ryan and I will tag team on this. So if you are virtual light, as I mentioned, will have a certain number of sessions. There'll be 2 rooms of live recorded sessions for you. They are predetermined, so we can't tell you what necessarily tracks they will be associated with until we release the full schedule. And the plenaries will also be streamed live. So you will all attendees will be able to see those. Even if you're on site and you decide you have to go up to your room to take a call and you miss half the plenary, you can stream that live from your hotel room and not miss any part of the plenary sessions. And then for the rest of it, Ryan, I'll let you answer the uploading question for the sessions.
So as Jen mentioned, we'll be live streaming certain sessions a day, the plenaries and 2 platform sessions in the morning and in the afternoon. But all other sessions that are happening in real time will be recorded and uploaded to the virtual platform within 48 hours. This means that everyone, both virtual attendees and in-person attendees, will be able to view every single session, whether it be virtual or live, regardless of if they were able to make it during a specific time. The platform access will be available for at least 30 days after the conference. So you should have the time to dedicate towards watching every session that we put on.
Can you talk about beverages for in-person persons? Will there be opportunity to fill water bottles? How will food be handled? Charity, I know you mentioned it quickly.
Yeah, so it's on all of our drinks, it's all pre-bottled drinks. So they're 1-to-1, so you pick up a bottle, drink and leave. Certainly, I mean, on your own, there are various places within the hotel that you can go purchase other drinks, but our drinks, our beverage service associated with any of our events are individuals. And food service, as I mentioned, is in takeaway containers. Everything is served that way.
Great. Will attendees on the virtual platform have their titles listed? Yes, they will have their titles, their organization name, as well as their name. And the easiest way to get in touch with them, if they've built out their schedule, you will be able to request a meeting one-on-one. You can always chat with them. There's a live kind of messaging feature as well. So there's multiple ways to get in touch with presenters, as well as exhibitors, as well as staff and other attendees. Just trying to, for the REU and high school poster sessions, when will the selection results be announced and be followed up with?
Can you repeat the question?
For REU and high school poster sessions, when will the selection results be announced?
So the high school poster and REU applicants have already been selected and notified, and they will be presenting at the annual meeting. The high school poster expo competition takes place from 1:30 to 4, with the judges announcing the 3 winners at 4 o'clock in the exhibit hall.
Another question is it possible to obtain recordings of the sessions? So as Ryan explained earlier, all in-person sessions are going to be recorded and within 72 hours uploaded into the platform, so that anyone, whether you were there in person and just couldn't be in 2 places at one time, or if you are virtual and back in your labs, that you will be able to view all of the in-person sessions, oral sessions, and they will be uploaded within 72 hours. There's a lot of specific questions in here to the exhibitor information. And if you email me, jen@bmes.org directly, I can answer those questions for you. We just don't have the time to answer specific questions and look up your record and figure out what is your particular circumstance and issue. So just please email me to the exhibitors who are having questions about the booth space. We will, I'll answer those after this call. Were we supposed to register for the Universal event? Nope. All tickets, if you're in person, all tickets come with 1 additional ticket for you to attend. So you didn't necessarily have to indicate that you were attending that event, and you can join us on site. Can you talk about food options or going off site during the meeting? Charity, I'm assuming it has to do with COVID precautions.
Sure. If you want to leave and go off site, continue to maintain the cautions that you deem necessary for yourself. Now, I will tell you, if you're not familiar with the property in Orlando, it does sort of sit by itself a little bit. So there are some options within the hotel itself. There are restaurants. Also within the app, the virtual platform, I got to stop saying app, it's the virtual platform. That's a me problem. Within the virtual platform, we have some underrepresented minority businesses listed, including restaurants, so that you could go to restaurants and support the local community. And also the hotel can help you find places to eat. I will tell you that it's a mixed bag in Orlando of people wearing masks and people not wearing masks. So for your own personal safety, decide if you want to order room service, or you want to go downstairs to the restaurant in the hotel and order food and bring it back to your room, or do you want to venture out? So it's completely up to you. Ubers are available, taxis are available. If you have your own car there, you can get to, you're very close to, I don't know what it's called at this point, but Walt Disney World has their sort of venue that has lots of restaurants and stuff, and that's very near to the hotel as well. So all of these options exist. So just take your safety seriously. But we try to help you plan other places that you can eat besides the hotel.
Got a few questions about hand sanitizing stations. We will have those throughout the property. Both the hotel is supplying them. We have a sponsor for some hand sanitizing stations as well. So you will see those up at registration. We will have wipes. We will be wiping down anything that needs to be touched, including microphones, but hand sanitizing stations and obviously bathrooms for you to wash your hands are available throughout the conference site. Again, I'm getting a lot of questions about exhibits. So when booths need to be set up for exhibitors, something that is different that we've been telling our exhibitors and our sponsors this year is that the welcome reception will be held in the hall. It's to give the sponsors and exhibitors some more time with attendees. And so we placed it in the hall as opposed to a hallway, for instance, as in years past. So everything does need to be set up by the time the welcome reception starts. And we also have some other events, Ryan, if you want to talk about those going on Wednesday evening right before the welcome reception. I believe there are a few things.
Yeah, so on Wednesday, we've got a couple of really interesting things that aren't just the welcome reception. You know, we've got how to maximize your conference experience, which will be a sort of meet and greet with the co-chairs of the annual meeting. And they'll give you highlights of what's going on and things that you should attend and look out for. There's also going to be the Meet the Faculty, which is taking place. And that'll be really interesting to sort of audit if you haven't already, if you're not participating in that. We also have the LGBTQIA and Friends event, which is happening later that night after the welcome reception. And if you have a ticket, we're really, really excited to have you there. And if you didn't, there might be some spaces. So drop by, see if you can get in the door. Can't promise anything, but if not all our attendees come in person who had a ticket, there might be an opening that you can sit in on.
We've also gotten a few questions about those who have registered in person, but they decide to go virtual only. Do they have to let us know? And you don't have to let us know. That's the great thing about using this as both the platform and the app, is that you have the same credentials, so you get the same access to the same things, whether you're in person or virtual. If you're virtual, you just get them up to 72 hours later. That is really the only difference from being on site and virtual as far as the program goes. Obviously, we've tried our best to replicate the experience as best we could, but we can't get to 100% because obviously nothing will replicate that one-on-one contact, but we tried our best to give you a whole host of ways to do so, whether it's chats, setting up appointments, going in and visiting profiles, going in, there'll be social media links there that you can connect to people outside of the platform as well. Let me see if I've got another question here. A couple of questions.
Oh, sorry, Jen. I was just going to jump in. I saw one about the hotel. So I was just going to jump in on that while you're there. The last day, the closing date for registering at the hotel is September 30th. So you do have a couple days left to register for the hotel, but our room block is through that date. So if you don't register by the 30th, there is a chance that it would cost more to stay at the hotel. So it's great to get in that rate. So sorry about that. I was trying to jump in there.
No, it's good to fill the space because it's a few questions coming in. There are a few questions about how posters will adhere to social distancing guidelines. I'll start, Ryan, if you want to jump in, but we only have 130 poster boards out at a time. So you'll notice this year we have a couple of different poster sessions during the day. This is a change. So when you go set up your poster, make sure as you're leaving, you're taking it with you because we will have pretty much the equivalent of an entire poster board. So about 8 feet in between the posters to make sure that they're socially distanced so people can come over and large groups don't form. You can see if there's a couple of people at a poster, it's an invitation to move on to the next one and then go back as time permits. Am I missing anything there, Ryan?
No, the only difference also that we added is that we interjected RUs throughout the entire conference. So they're not just limited to Saturday, which gives them more exposure, which we thought was a really good plus. And we have 2 poster sessions a day, which is how we were able to condense and make sure that we didn't overwhelm the exhibit hall and we were able to space everybody out. So I think you covered it.
And just in general too, there's going to be one-way aisles in the exhibit hall. They'll be indicated by floor markers. We have a dedicated entrance to the exhibit hall. So the flow of traffic goes through the entrance and out the dedicated exit. And we will try to enforce that as much as possible too. It's kind of like the grocery store, people will get caught up, but if you just, indicate that this is a one-way aisle, they're all over the floors. You'll be able to see those as well. We also spread out the refreshment breaks. Again, as Charity noted, everything will be takeaway so that you can leave with it and that you're not encouraged to necessarily eat right then and there. And we've spread those out throughout the hall. So if you see one table, you should see 2 more. If there's a space there and it's crowded, please feel free to move to the next refreshment table. Everything will have the same offering so that you're not missing out on anything and don't have to visit all 3 tables. People are also asking about access to the attendee list, whether you'll be able to see other attendees. And the answer to that is yes, we want to encourage networking, both for the exhibitors, but also just attendees. If you're a student looking for a mentor, if you are looking for a new program, please utilize the exhibit hall. Please utilize people's profiles. You'll have access to all the attendees. It's up to each attendee whether they want to be listed in the attendee list or not. So anyone who indicates their personal preference that they would like to be a part of that, you will have access to that. Other questions? I haven't had a chance to look in the chat. Are there additional ways to volunteer for the meeting? Unfortunately not. We will have quite a few less volunteers on site because we did have to limit due to COVID restrictions limit how many people we were allowed to have on site at the meeting. So unfortunately, there are no additional opportunities to volunteer this year. If you are on site and you are a volunteer, there are 2 different trainings, one on Wednesday morning at 8 a.m., one on Thursday morning. You should have received directions. If you haven't received directions and thought you were a volunteer, please email us at membership@bmes.org and we will get back to you with your assignments. You will be receiving instructions as well. I mentioned this a little earlier, receiving your instructions for the app / virtual platform on October 4th. We are aiming for 8 a.m. Eastern time release. So by the time you get to your email in the morning, those instructions will have been emailed to you.
We also have one session that we are accepting volunteers for, but it's not a reimbursable volunteering for your registration. It's just a general roundtable session that we're hosting for our students, the academic salon. If you're interested in possibly volunteering for that session or participating in that session, please reach out to me at Ryan@BMES and I can tell you a little bit more about it.
Will you be able to accommodate previously submitted dietary restrictions and how will that be handled?
If you submitted a dietary restriction with your registration, we have that information and we have relayed it to the hotel. So, but make sure it's known when you go in to there will be attendants at the food stations around where the boxes are. So if you're a vegetarian, for example, or you're lactose intolerant, whatever it is, make sure that you mention it because there is food being prepared for our group, a percentage based on what has been reported to us.
I don't know if you know the answer to this, Charity, because I don't offhand, but is it convenient to park at the hotel?
I will say this, it's convenient to park at the hotel, but it's not cheap to park at the hotel. So they do charge you for parking. I don't recall off the top of my head, I apologize. I saw that number at one point, but there's been a lot of numbers I've seen in the last few days. But you can park at the hotel. It's easy to park at the hotel. They have 2 methods. You can do self-parking. You can do valet parking at the hotel. Again, it's not inexpensive, but it is available.
A couple of questions about designated outdoor spaces to eat the takeaway food and refreshments. So yes, we do have dedicated outdoor spaces. There's also some indoor spaces that you can use as well to take away food. You can also go up to your room if you choose to take a lunch half hour or a break. So we do have different options for you to be outside, inside, or up in your room. Did I miss anything, Charity?
No, I know they do have an outdoor pool, bar, food place, but I don't know because there is reconstruction or construction going on at the hotel. They're up doing the pool deck and I don't believe it's going to be finished, but I know that they have, if you're not, there is a takeaway food place in the hotel as like a market. And then there's a bunch of restaurants that also offer takeaway so that you can take food in various places. And I know they have at least 3 restaurants if they're all operating.
Great. A couple of questions here about how virtual attendees are going to interact with in-person poster presenters, but also how they can access the student and early career programming sessions as well. So Ryan, you have already said this, but if you can, it's worth repeating to repeat it. So.
Sure. So we asked all of our poster presenters, not just those who are presenting virtually, to submit their poster in a 2-minute video presentation of their poster to our virtual platform. So that will be the way that virtual attendees will be able to interact with in-person presenters. However, there will not be a camera on their poster. It will not be live streamed. You'll be able to network with them through the networking feature in the platform. But, if they didn't submit their poster virtually, then unfortunately there would be no way to view that research. But that's entirely up to the in-person poster presenters themselves. And as for the student and early career programs, All of them will be recorded and put on the platform within 48 hours so that they can all be watched in after the fact. However, there are a couple programs that are considered networking events, and networking events are not being made virtual. So the industry mixer won't be made virtual. The academic salon won't be made virtual because these are actually interactive events. But we're hoping to create some sort of webinar after the fact feature that can make up for that lost opportunity. So just keep an eye on your emails and your communications from BMES.
Great. A few more questions here about exhibitors and times to move in, as well as capabilities with the platform. Hubalo, our tech folks, sent out an email this morning with a video that shows you how to access your information, as well as for any editing you want to do. So again, if you didn't get that email, please email me personally and direct jen@bmes.org, or you can reach us through membership@bmes.org. You can get me either way, and we will get back to you after this call ends. Again, as far as accessing the list of attendees, everyone will have access to that list for everyone who opts to make themselves visible in the directory of attendees. So again, we have about 3,200 attendees, all of which have some sort of virtual access. They'll be given credentials on October 4th. We encourage you start building out your profiles, start building out the agenda, sessions you want to attend, and there's great notification system. There is a great scheduling system to schedule calls and meetings with people, as well as a chat function. Exhibitors should have received an exhibitor service kit. If you didn't receive that link, that will have your setup time, your booth teardown time, the address for you to ship everything, for you to order power, that sort of thing. Please email me and I will get you your unique link. Ryan, there are a couple of questions again, asking for you to walk through the poster, the in-person posters again, as well as the virtual posters again, and what people can expect.
Sure. So in-person poster presenters are given a session time in the morning or in the afternoon, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And during that time frame, they'll be there presenting their poster, and they'll be sectioned off so that there's at least 6 feet distance in between each poster board, if not more, because like we said, we made sure that we were giving everyone very, very big proper spacing. Virtual posters were asked to upload the virtual posters PDF as well as a 2-minute video presentation. All of these posters, both in person and in virtual, will be available so long as the in-person poster presenters uploaded their PDFs for viewing on the virtual platform. And then we encourage all of our attendees to reach out through the networking feature on the virtual platform to ask Q&As so that they can directly communicate with the poster presenter at their own leisure. They don't have to attend at a specific time. They don't have to compete with anyone else. They can read the poster at 2 a.m. or they can read it at 2 p.m., whatever time makes the most sense for them. But there is no live component to the virtual poster presentations. You do not, as a virtual poster presenter, you do not have to be present at a specific time. As a attendee who is watching or looking at the virtual posters, at the in-person posters through the virtual app, you do not have to be present at a specific time.
Any other questions from the audience? Let me take a look at the chat here. People are again asking about Meet the Faculty candidate form. Ryan, can you explain again what the virtual and in-person components are to that program?
Sure. So again, Meet the Faculty is 100% in person this year. However, we are creating a lookbook of all the accepted candidates' resumes, and we'll be posting that on the virtual app. And that way, if any attendees wanted to reach out through that platform who don't attend in person, you still have the opportunity to network with them through the virtual platform. However, there will be no virtual session set up. There will be no recruiting session set up. There will be no faculty job board set up. This is an entirely in-person event. What we are doing to compensate for the fact that we weren't able to segue this program in time in the 45 days that we've been planning the virtual program is that after the conference has concluded towards the end of October, late fall, we will be sending out communications of an entirely virtual Meet the Faculty-esque program. And that'll be open to new candidates. So keep an eye out for that communication from BMES.
The only, just to clarify, because I have some questions here about when credentials go out. If you are an attendee of the meeting and a presenter, you will get your credentials emailed on October 4th. However, if you are an exhibitor, an email was sent for access to your virtual booth only. If you did not receive that email, please get in touch with me, Jen at bmes.org. However, if you're an attendee, all your credentials for you to access the system, access the exhibit hall, all of that information will be emailed on October 4th. Hope that clarifies. I don't want to confuse anyone. Ryan, quick question. Will we be able to view abstracts or presentations in advance of October 4th of getting that email?
So the abstracts will not be available, and neither will the presentations. We are not opening the app for anything other than the schedule viewing and possibly schedule building prior to the conference starting. All of that will be available after the application is open, after the platform has opened.
And again, we just want to reiterate that we are going to look at next year as a hybrid event from the start. And so we hope to mitigate some of these questions and confusion a little earlier in the process than later in the process, but in trying to accommodate as many things for as many folks and as many accommodations as we could make. We ran into a little crunch time, and for that, we're sorry. And again, for specific questions, if you have specific registration questions to you, feel free to reach out to membership at bmes.org. If you're an exhibitor or a sponsor and you have some questions, feel free to reach out to me at jen@bmes.org. Any other questions? We're so excited to be with you. We can't believe it's next week already, and want to make sure everyone who is able to join us on site that we're answering your questions about on site, about virtual, whatever you have, that's what we're here for. So feel free to use the Q&A box or use the chat feature to ask. We've got a couple more minutes. We're all yours. And I will go through the chat just to make sure we hit on all of them.
While we're waiting for a couple more questions to roll in, I am going to say what program I'm most excited for at the annual meeting, and then I'm going to throw it to Jen and Charity and see what programs they're most excited for. So the program that I'm most excited for is definitely going to be the academic salon, which is going to be a roundtable session where we have a moderator throwing out topics, And then you'll have a leader at each table that is leading a discussion of you and your peers. And it'll be a really great networking event. It'll be a really great place to discuss what's happening in BME and your universities and meet some new people. It's gonna be really exciting.
I'll go second, and I'm going to say I'm a roller coaster junkie, so it's the best for me. I'm really excited to get offsite. I've been kind of locked up in my apartment for the last 2 years, so I'm excited to be outdoors. I'm excited to be in the fresh air, and I'm excited to be screaming on a roller coaster because the Hulk roller coaster is one of my favorites. So that's my answer.
I'm just going to say I have never been to an in-person BMES annual meeting. So I am just excited to go in person and see our members and meet our members and interact with you and spend time with you and see our great plenary session award winners speaking, because last year virtually they were fantastic, and be able to see the posters and be able to see people out enjoying an in-person conference again. So I'm just very, very excited to be able to do that this year and to accommodate our members that can come in person, and certainly interact with any members that are virtual, because I know some of you can't come in person. We totally understand that. And that's why we're glad that we could pivot to a virtual platform so that you could interact as well. So that was really important to us, to be able to provide that ability for as many members as possible to interact and enjoy the annual meeting in whatever way they could. So I think we're all really excited about that. Do you have a new question in there, Jen? Maybe.
I do. Does the academic salon require separate registration? Ryan, you're getting people so excited. They want to know how they can join you.
And I'm really, really happy everyone's excited. So it does require separate registration. It's a ticketed event, but it is a free ticketed event. Like I said, for the LGBTQIA event, we are fully ticketed out, but I recommend, because the tickets were sold out pretty much almost instantaneously before we pivoted to virtual, that if you're interested in one of these ticketed events, you go and you kind of scoop out the room, and it's possible that we might be able to fit you in. Can't promise anything, but we're hopeful that we'll be able to accommodate as many people as possible who are interested in attending these events.
Just a side note, I was on the phone with the chair of the diversity committee today, and for the diversity events, they are working on having a Zoom link with Zoom breakout rooms, so they could have conversations virtually as well as in person at those events. And this was this is like breaking news. I'm kind of breaking it right here to the staff at the same time that I'm breaking it to all of you, but I just hung up on a call with her, and they want to be able to be inclusive and include people virtually. So Leah Bellis, if you don't know her, a fantastic volunteer. And so she is working on doing that with her diversity committee. So that's kind of exciting. So I hope they can pull it off. Don't quote me, but I know she's working really hard to make that happen. So just an FYI on that one.
Two other points to note. The first is that there are also going to be some university sponsors who can't join us in person, who will be doing virtual university receptions. Those will be linked in the booth spaces for those that are going to be doing it, but also keep an eye out on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And we will be posting those links as well for you to join us. And yes, we will be archiving this webinar so that everyone has access to it. It'll be on BMES's archived webpage for all of our webinars, and we will send that out to you in an email for this. And usually it takes about 2 to 3 days to get it up there. Bear with us while we do that. Do tickets, are the luncheons included in tickets? Unfortunately not. The luncheons do require a separate ticket, but as Ryan mentioned, if it is possible, we will take payments on site at the door if there is extra room for any ticketed events that have a payment requirement. We will try to get you in there. If they don't have a payment requirement, stand at the door, and if there is space, we will let you in. We're not going to deny anyone. We just have to make sure that safety protocols by way of COVID and social distancing are kept. So that's the reason for that.
Is that all?
So the second question is when the conference program schedule will be posted. And again, you will have it by October 4th when we send out the credentials for the platform itself. The agenda will be inside of the platform and you can build it, but we are looking to see if that can be released a little sooner. If it is, we will post announcements everywhere, social media, our website, and we'll send you an email to let you know that you can look at the program a little sooner. And by way of student volunteers, again, the hours that you work when you signed up to be a student volunteer, that was all spelled out, but it will be spelled out again in the trainings that happen both on Wednesday morning and Thursday morning. You only need to go to one of those. You will get your assignments on site.
And so that reaches the end of the questions that have been submitted, but we still have about 7 minutes. So if anyone has any last minute questions, please feel free, use this time. This is your time, not ours. So we're here for you.
Just so you know, because I know we have a lot of first-time attendees going to be with us, both on site as well as virtually. And I think this advice goes to both those who are joining us in person and not. The conference dress code is really business casual. So just look presentable, how you want to meet people for the first time. Just so you know, some of the staff will be dressed up, what they feel comfortable in. Some of the staff, like myself, will likely be in a BMES t-shirt and jeans. We will be wearing name tags. We ask you to wear your name tags at all times so that people know, especially security knows that you're a part of our conference. And as well as when we go to the bash, please wear your name tags as you exchange your ticket for your universal ticket and to get onto the buses. There will be transportation to the bash Friday night from buses that will leave outside of the hotel, and there'll be more direction and directional signs for you, but they will be leaving out in front of the hotel.
And then we had a question asking us to confirm the end time for Saturday because it is a bit late this year. Not only did we want to, normally we end on Saturday, but most of our attendees start filing out in the morning, and that leaves our morning Saturday sessions very sad and unattended. So what we did is we elongated the poster sessions by cutting them in half. And we also ensured that there was quality programming throughout the entire Saturday instead of just Saturday morning, which we're using to encourage people to stick around for the entire conference.
You want to talk a little bit about the closing session, the networking opportunity that there is for the closing session, or maybe I just did it. We're going to have some BME stars at the closing session. And so it'll be a networking opportunity for you to meet others who may not have had the opportunity to meet during the conference.
And we'll have more about that spelled out in the program for any of our attendees who are interested in sticking around from 4 to 5 on Saturday.
First-time attendees, do you have any questions other than dress code maybe that we can answer for you about showing up to the meeting? Anything? It'll be very well marked as a BMES conference, so you shouldn't be confused. And we're the only conference there at this time, so there's no other conference to compete with your attention for. So you can't miss us, hopefully, but there will be ample signage that you should be able to tell you're in the right place. Great.
There is one more question. Will the exhibit hall be open for attendees on Wednesday evening? Yes. So we're going to be having our big kickoff event in the exhibit hall. And that'll be a welcome reception, and it's a way to showcase our exhibitors a little bit earlier than they normally would be exhibited, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll also be having our LGBTQIA session happening right after that, though it will not be in the exhibit hall.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Yeah. Thank you very, very much. We're looking forward to seeing you whichever way. We'll see you virtually or we'll see you in person. We're very excited to hold our event this year. And I know that we're all looking forward to getting out of our spaces and seeing you again and interacting with you. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your questions and thank you for your patience. We appreciate you very much. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Bye.